This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and I have been reading a book. That's what I've been doing, among other things. I've been doing many other things, but reading books are other things. Some of the other things that I do, hobbies maybe. I don't know. I never used to read that much. I did when I was young, and then I realized that wasn't cool, and so I stopped reading, and then I took it up again in my 20s. Anyway. What I'm actually talking about is a book that I'm reading called The Inner Game of Tennis. I've just finished it. It's a really small, simple book, a fantastic book by Timothy Gallwey. And it goes on to say, the ultimate guide to the mental side of peak performance. He uses tennis as the example throughout the book. But as you'll see in the next couple of podcasts, it's not actually about that. So I'm going to share a couple of things from this book. There's so much to share from this book. It is a really a great little book. I'm going to share 3 things with you over the next 3 podcasts that were in 5 of the last 10 pages. So strap in. He goes on to say, this is on page 123. Now, we're at the back end of the book here, so it's worth reading the whole book for sure. But we're on the back side of the book here, where he goes on to say, a very wise person once told me, when it comes to overcoming obstacles, there are 3 kinds of people. The first kind sees most obstacles as insurmountable and walks away. The second kind sees an obstacle and says, I can overcome it, and starts to dig under, climb over, or blast through it. The third type of person, before deciding to overcome the obstacle, tries to find a viewpoint where what is on the other side of the obstacle can be seen. Then, only if the reward is worth the effort, does he attempt to overcome the obstacle. Great little story, great little adage, I'd say. Let's have a bit of a look at this for a second, right? What is it really pointing at? This is what's making it so fascinating, is because a lot of the time there is that part of us that sees an obstacle and goes, oh, there's this hurdle, there's this challenge, there's this difficulty, there's this whatever. And if you ever listen to my shit, you'll continually hear me saying, it is shit, it's good shit. Continually hear me say that when we ask for a goal, when we set a goal, we're not just setting a goal. We're actually also simultaneously asking for the difficulties that will allow us to achieve that goal. Right? We get to keep what we earn, and we learn what we earn, or we earn what we learn. Think of it either way. And so the beautiful thing about that is that if we are in the pursuit of anything worthy for ourselves that we have given purpose to, then the crucial thing for us is to understand that there's going to be challenges. There's going to be obstacles. In fact, if there isn't, then what the fuck's the point of doing it? It's not just if it was easy, everyone would do it. I don't think that's true. Because sometimes things that are easy just aren't fulfilling. Overcoming challenges that are worth overcoming are. It's really quite fascinating. So that's the first person. The second person sees an obstacle and says, I can overcome it, and starts to dig under, climb over, or blast through it. And hey, look, there's a big part of the population that's like this. They're seeing the obstacle, they're like, fuck this thing, I'm just going to work through it. And they blindly do it. And their work ethic is crucial. But we know if we put the ladder up the wrong tree, we're not going to save whatever we need to save up the tree. It doesn't matter how good the ladder is or how good of a climber we are if we're going the wrong way. And so many of us work diligently hard to get something that we either A, will never get, not because we can't get it, because we're not good enough, more so because we're looking for approval, or maybe somebody else is setting the standards for us and we're trying to make their standards become ours, something along those lines, right? It could be a whole range of things, right? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And that's what we're looking at here. It's the squeeze that we're looking at. And so the third person in this story will just wait a moment and assess. And they pay attention to go, hang on a sec, let's look at the risk versus reward here. Now, in the reward, is it worth the risk? Is it worth the work? Is it worth the time invested? right? How much is my time worth on a monetary value and value to me as an individual, personally? And taking all that into account, if that's the case, then is it worth overcoming this obstacle? Or am I just overcoming this obstacle to uphold the identity that I overcome obstacles? I don't really go anywhere with it. I don't really achieve anything. I don't get progression. I just work hard, right? And so this is an easy way to start looking for ourselves at the things that come up for us that are difficult. Now, each one of these things, I would say, has merit to it. If we come up against an obstacle, there's nothing wrong with walking away. The key thing is getting to that viewpoint and looking at it and going, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And being honest with ourselves, right? Really, really crucial. Otherwise, we do all the work and then we hold our hands out at the end of all this work, waiting for what we think we deserve for doing the work, and then be bitterly disappointed with what we receive. Sometimes that's money. For a lot of us, sometimes that's love or affection or approval. But I work so hard. How can people treat people that way? I did all these things for them. Why didn't they do it for me? Why didn't they love so on and so on and so on and so forth, right? Can you see that? And so the key thing here really is having the self-awareness to get to a good viewpoint. And once again, is the juice worth the squeeze? And on that note, team, I'm done. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you would pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, then jump on Facebook, search Beyond the Matrix. I'd love to see you in there. It's a free Facebook group. Of course, I've got my Coaches Circle coming up starting on the 8th of Feb. You can check that out at davenixon.com.au. Just click the memberships tab. It's all in there. All my stuff's in there. You get my book pretty much on any online store. If you're in America, let me know if it's in stores. Apparently it is. It's meant to be. I don't know though. I'm not sure. So let me know. That's me done. I'm out. Until tomorrow. Peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. See you soon.
To be everything at once, be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.